You see, something's going to happen.
What? What's going to happen?
Something wonderful.
What?
I understand how you feel. You see, it's all very clear to me now.
Okay, so that's a start. We're at least going to get it out to the YouTube audience for Cosmic Summit. But welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our press availability and Q&A with Drs. Armando May and Filippo Biondi. They just gave a jaw-dropping presentation, the most comprehensive review of their data of the new scanning technologies they are applying to the Giza Plateau, and it was astonishing. And we know it's astonishing because so many people around the world have said, no way, no way. That's a sign of astonishment, right? But there is a way. And they found a way to peer beneath Giza in other locations. So this is going to be an ongoing story with a lot of legs. We hope people cover it, follow it, and what we'd like is your questions. And we want to take our time with this and ask them to take their time. And if anything needs to be translated, the producer, the documentarian, and explorer Michael Donnelly also speaks 5 languages, okay? So, so if you find Atlantis, apparently it takes linguistic skills, but he can help on the translation. But this is Armando May, this is Filippo Biondi, folks, and we're gonna begin with some questions. I think we'll just do it by raising hands for the time being, okay? So would someone like to begin? Okay, from the Daily Mail.
That's me.
Yes.
In your scan, in the images you had shown.
We need another mic. Oh, we don't have one.
We don't have one. Repeat the question, please.
I'm sorry. When he said there's only one mic, I thought, well, that's fine. We only need one up here. I wasn't thinking about it there. But go again, and just as loud as you can. Sorry.
So with the images you showed, basically it was kind of like a well type of area that had a ladder going down. And correct me if I'm wrong, that your scans also picked up shafts going down in them, correct?
Yes, we have detected shafts that belongs underneath on each pyramid, and those has a, let's call round base, and they have a spirally behavior while going down. Then at the bottom of each spirals we found huge chambers, approximately 80 meters large. So these on each pyramids. But other shafts are located all around the Giza plateau. And they are scattered in 3 main areas where Trevor Grassi helped me to find them. But those shafts are different because they have a square base, not round, and they are a bit narrower with respect to the one that are located below the base of each pyramid. Yes, of course, these squared shafts, they go below, underneath, and approximately around 600 meters. But as I showed you in the conference, they reach chambers that are located on, let's call it ground zero underneath, and we are investigating those chambers.
Follow-ups will be welcome. Next, Mr. Jay Anderson.
Yep, Jay Anderson from Project Unity. I wanted to ask you, how do you respond to critics who claim SAR cannot penetrate more than a few meters into dry, rocky terrain like the Giza Plateau? What have they misunderstood about your data acquisition and signal modeling formation?
Yes, thank you very much for these questions. It is correct. We accept criticism because, who works studying, who works on synthetic aperture radar, do not know a lot about the details on how the image formation is performed. So it is accepted, those kind of criticism. We are not using directly electromagnetic waves in order to scan underneath. It is obvious, because the interaction of electromagnetic waves is only superficial, and we know everything about this. According to the particular image formation that uses the Doppler synthesis, the Doppler synthesis of a virtual antenna aperture that is typically of SAR, is used only on synthetic aperture radar, we understood that this kind of synthesis is made by sound. So it recasts inside the so-called Doppler bandwidth. So according to particular phenomena that happens when the target that we are observing on the Earth moves, we are able to perform the so-called Doppler centroid anomalies in order to retrieve the acoustic information that is always present, like evanescent waves present on the surface of the Earth, and so we are processing that kind of information. So we are just grabbing the superficial information, acoustic, that contains all the information that comes underneath.
Next question. Gentleman in the green hat.
I'm interested in how you construct the inverse function to go from the vanishing waves on the surface to the propagation of the resonant chambers.
Yes. Thank you for this question. Absolutely, evanescent waves contains all the information that comes underneath. There is a criteria that puts together the acoustic information with the electromagnetic information. Between acoustic and electromagnetic, there is a Fourier transform. So, according to a particular algorithm that we have developed that uses pixel tracking in order to retrieve the vibrations that are present on the surface of the Earth, we were able to retrieve a model that we call it tomographic inversion in order to perform a Fourier transform based. So we were able to collect the energy that scattered energy that was arriving underneath the Earth. So the tomographic model is able to reconstruct a vertical curtain where on the horizontal axis we have the space, the tomographic line, and on the vertical axis we have the depth.
We'll be okay. Next question. Who would like? Nikki, I believe.
I was wondering if you were going to ever intend on, well, I kind of think this could potentially be a security threat for you, so I was wondering if you were going to share this methodology with other people, like how other people can do this with,
Yes, absolutely yes. We are currently we have installed a formal collaboration with Stanford University in the person of Professor Howard Zepker. that is began working in replicating the experiments. But we always shared our details of our of the technique on my papers. I suggest to read my papers that we have published on IEEE and other papers that are published on remote sensing. There is written details of the technique that we have used, and so there is written everything. Thank you.
X-ray, we're running.
Yeah. So,
Do the mic,
so when you do your data, I know you do planes like this transversely or coronal or sagitally. Are you able to do data sets where it's cut like this?
Absolutely, yes.
And then on top of that, with known structures, I know you can see their squares, but with unknown structures like under the Khafre pyramids, how many planes do you actually scan to know it's more spherical versus like a square?
Yes. We have performed a lot of work. We are studying the Khafre pyramid for now, I think, 2 years. We have produced more than 200 tomograms, and we are still working. We are planning to conclude this research project in June 2026. Probably we will do a final conference in Verona that we will let you know the exact date when will be held. But yes, we are using the scientific approach always, so diversity in terms of tomographic lines, diversity in terms of different pictures, different SAR images, and diversity also in different satellite systems. So currently we are working on 3 satellite systems that are Capella Space, Umbra Space, and something also given by Cosmos Kind and the second generation.
Thank you.
Right there, Mr. Jackson.
So your discoveries consist primarily of 2 elements. You're looking at shafts and chambers at the bottom of the shafts. And the shafts are, you say, 2 kilometers? Is it like 6,500 feet?
Okay.
Wait a second. That's not my question. My question is, regardless of what the depth is there any prospect of doing any kind of excavation or drilling to see if we can find physical evidence of what you've discovered with software technology?
Yes. We found, I confirm that we found the main structures that we found are pillars and underneath chambers. Absolutely, yes, we confirm this. The depth can be belonging between 1 kilometer and 1.5 kilometers underneath, and absolutely yes. At the presentation I showed also different shafts that are visible, the entrance from the surface of Giza. In my personal opinion, we can or access inside these spirals passing from the inside of the pyramids in a way that we will know only if we go there and explore better the entrance of these pillars. Secondly, we can entrance, as I told you in the conference, we can entrance inside the underneath complex structures by passing through the vertical shafts that are accessible, visible at the surface of Giza. They are only tapped by soil, so it is necessary to maintain, clean those shafts, and so go, and you have an entrance that can be directly accessed from there. I don't know. If we will try, absolutely. We were speaking with Trevor just now. We will try to submit particular projects to the Egyptian authorities in order to try and in order to ask particular authorization to make some work on the Giza plateau. Absolutely, yes.
Armando, could the dynastic Egyptians have done this?
Well, I was quite sure that pyramids, because of their architectural engineering features, were not built during the dynastic age. But after, because of lots of reasons that I tried to explain also during the conference, I refer, for example, to the block of granite that are in the king's chambers, that form the king's chambers and the jet upon, but also because to extract such blocks of granite from the cave of Aswan, 900 kilometers south of Giza, is very hard for the Egyptians of the time, and also to transport the blocks and many other things. But now, observing the megastructures that are underneath the Giza plateau, I'm quite sure, or better, I'm sure that the dynastic Egyptians didn't build the pyramids and also the megastructures that are beneath the pyramids. Moreover, I would like to underline that for sure the dynastic Egyptian didn't build the pyramids. But in my opinion, were the ancestors of the Egyptians that built the megastructures beneath the pyramids and the pyramids as well. It means that, in my opinion, the Egyptians people must be proud of their ancestors that were the seed of the modern civilizations. So I think that this concept must be underlined.
I'd like to ask about the paper you mentioned that will be published in a couple of months. You mentioned the paper in the conference that it's going to be published. What's the content? Do you know where it's going to be published? How long will it take for the peer review? Do you think it will change the approach of mainstream media to your work, which has been skeptical, I would say?
Yes, thank you for these questions. Yes, the paper is ready. We will submit this paper peer review on the Remote Sensing Journal, maybe in 2 weeks. The answer on your question is I don't know. Let's see what happens. The peer review process will take some time. It depends on the reviewers that will be nominated for reviewing this paper. So we have to see. I don't know.
Gentleman right there.
I think you said that there's topsoil covering some of the shaft entrances. Was that right? You said it was just topsoil over some of the entrances.
Sì. Yes, the shafts that we analyzed, the entrance is visible from the top, so you can also look inside the shafts and you see them. They are at a certain depth. They are blocked by soil. So it is necessary to discharge this block, so clean the tube and go down and see what happens.
How thick do you think that topsoil is?
Trevor, 10 meters approximately.
I think it's different for each
Uh,
shaft, really.
An average depth, no.
Most of those ones right behind the Sphinx are.
Yeah, most of the ones behind the Sphinx, like the Campbell's tomb is the one right behind it, the big one. And then there's a bunch more along the north side of the Sphinx Causeway, which all of those I know go approximately 100 to 125 feet down, about the same as the Osiris shaft. And then we know from, like you mentioned, Hakim Al-Yan as well in your presentation, he was talking about when he was a child walking through all these tunnels. Those are the ones he was talking about around 100 feet down from the surface at that point. But some of them are filled with sand to different levels, and a lot of them are just gated with metal gates on the top. They even have ladders going down, so you can tell some people have gotten in there. But yeah, and the Campbell's tomb was pretty well excavated as well. And there are some detailed drawings of some of this stuff on the bottom, but I think what you showed in your scans were actually deeper than where they had gone before.
Trevor, introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about your story and your role.
Oh, yeah.
Up here, you're welcome.
Sure. All right.
Thanks.
I couldn't get that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Trevor Grassi, and I'm honored to be a part of what's going on here. I'm not officially part of the Khafre project, but I've been working with my friends William Brown and Richard Gabriel in Egypt for a while, and we've been working with GPR scans and on-site exploration, doing some kind of road work, if you would call it that, kind of seeing what we can learn from the local people in the village off the east side of the plateau, and learning a lot about it from that. But we do have these GPR scans from 2006 that Bill Brown carried out with the NRAAG, the National Research Institute of Astronomy and Geophysics. And those were taken at 9 different locations on the plateau, and a lot of them actually confirm what we believe to be the entrances into the discoveries that Armando Filippo Corrado has brought forward. So last year I reached out to them and I said, I think we found a bunch of the entrances into the chambers you guys have found, and we ended up becoming friends last year and just started to collaborate on it. So this is the first time we're all getting to meet actually in person, but we've got a couple of interviews together where we explain some of the correlations between the two projects.
Gentlemen, the checkered shirt.
I was just wondering how you're dealing with signal attenuation going through all the compact soil and what frequency bands you've been using.
Yes. The attenuation is present, as I showed you on the presentation. It is normal because the deeper you are and the signal is weaker because of the propagation. You have the acoustic path loss propagation, which is important. Yes, the bandwidth. The acoustic bandwidth recast belongs 0 Hz to, let's say, 11 kilohertz. But it depends on the particular satellite that you're using, because, let's say, Capella Space has a different Doppler bandwidth with respect to Ambra Space or Cosmos Skynet. It depends, but you have an average of a Doppler bandwidth belonging between 0 to 10 kilohertz. Why 10 kilohertz? Because normally a spotlight data has 22 or 25 kilohertz of bandwidth. but we are using half bandwidth in order to scan inside the synthesis, the orbit, no? the orbit of the image. Then the electromagnetic part, they are all set because of E2 regulation, International Telecommunication Union, so the frequency allocation are all set into 10 gigahertz, and there inside 10 gigahertz and 250 megahertz of bandwidth approximately.
If there were more even further down below, do you feel you would have found it? Or I guess, do you think your technique would have found anything as deep as it would go? Or did you hit a limit of measurement, and could there be more even further down?
Thank you for this question. The limits is given by the points. So you have a limit. You can go below as you want, because the limit is given by the time used from the satellite to perform the image synthesis. The satellite flies into the space at 7 kilometers per second in velocity. It spends, let's say, from 10 to 15 seconds to perform a spotlight acquisition. According to the vibrational extrapolation, we need some time, seconds, let's say 5, 6, 7 seconds, in order to listen the acoustic information on the Earth. So that time determines the depthness that you are observing. You cannot go more than a certain limit, okay? And this limit can be approximately between 4 or 5 kilometers. More than that, you can't go at the moment.
Yeah, I've heard some people say with you know your idea that everything was built around 36,000 years ago. A little higher, yell in there. With everything, you know, your leading theory is that it was built 36,000 years ago, and a lot of researchers think that.
Can you repeat what you're saying?
Yeah.
A little bit more clearly.
Oh, okay. I know, Armando, your theory is that it was built 36,000 years ago, correct? The structures? Now, I have heard from some researchers that it's completely impossible because, you know, humans were living in caves and things like that. Can you provide an argument to why you believe and why you are sure that the structures were built 36,000 years ago?
Yes, the same critics received probable when they published the Orion conversion theory, because of what we know from anthropologists on the evolution of humankind. Nevertheless, we have also to underline that many researchers and part of the academics believe that the evolution of humankind follows different patterns. For example, Michael Cremo of the LA University many years ago published an interesting book, Forbidden Anthropology, or Archaeology, I don't know, maybe Archaeology. And he made an interesting study on the evolution of sapiens, stated that the origins of the sapiens maybe belong to 100,000 years ago, because there were we can't put limits in the study of the ancient history of humankind. And we must apply different model of investigation based on multidisciplinary models, because this is the only way to move forward in this kind of study and shed light on the mysteries of the ancient past. So I believe that the limits that academic put in this kind of research give us an incorrect story of what happened in the past of humankind. That is my opinion.
Feel free to follow up if you
Really quick, now, I just want to make sure, because I thought the structures, are they 36,000 or they're 70,000?
In my opinion, the pyramids were built during the Tzeptepi, age of the gods, and according to the ancient text, this period could be dated around 38,000 years ago. So the pyramids were built in 36,400 before Christ, in my opinion, but just because I studied the Giza plateau as a wall. So I don't consider just only the pyramids and the Sphinx, but other monuments that, in my opinion, belong to a global project, including the Tomb of the Birds, for example, the pyramid beneath the Sphinx, and also the ridge where actually is the mastaba of the Queen Towers. So putting together all the pieces of the global project and connecting all those monuments with the celestial vault, the only moment when all the elements on the ground are connected with the celestial bodies is only in 36,400 before Christ at the vernal equinox. So actually the software performed in very accurate, just until 4,000 before Christ. Maybe in the future the software of astronomy simulation will be improved, and then we may be more accurate in dating the pyramids and all the Giza plateau.
Yeah, Frank Rogella, Mortals of Earth. Armando has made quite a case for the extreme antiquity of the structures. This is just kind of a two-part thing. Number one, does it bother you to call the project after the name of a fourth dynasty kingdom pharaoh that it looks like, if you're right, it had little to do with the pyramid with his name on it? Number two, like the historical water levels of the Giza plateau before the dam was there, and if we're talking about deep antiquity going back 38,000 years or so, does it maybe suggest that there was perhaps two uses? Like in ancient times, it was perhaps a machine, because we know in current day we've measured plasma bubbles over Giza plateau. I'm aware of 2 times that it's been measured over it. It's as if they were generating it from some type of a resonant force. And then maybe in dynastic times, they were later used for the resonant properties for other maybe spiritual reasons or different purposes than they originally were intended for.
Yes, on the pyramids on the Great Pyramid actually, in the past were made several experimentation connecting the pyramids with the energies. For example, I remember an experiment of Tom Dunley, an engineer of the NASA, that was studying the frequencies inside the King's chambers, and he noted that the chambers resonate the frequency of 16 hertz. It means that pyramids maybe are connected with the frequencies and the energies. Moreover, it's possible that megastructures that we are detecting in the underground of Giza could have a possible connection with the energies. So, particularly, I believe that spirals that are around the shafts could be not staircase man. My personal opinion, of course, but we need, of course, to explore the shafts, but maybe the spheres are made of some kind of metal. So it's possible that all the structures that are connected along them, from the Sphinx to the Menkaure pyramid and more other, are all connected. So it's possible that it was a possible power plant to generate energy. But it's just only my opinion. We need to improve this kind of study. That is possible only making explore if we can explore the underground of beneath pyramids.
Seems to me you should be able to explore it. They say nothing's down there. What's invasive about drilling? Yeah. But next, excuse my name. This gentleman here didn't bring that.
Filippo, I'm curious, when you're looking at the surface waves on the top, have you run into any issues regarding wind or trucks causing vibrations that interfere with the natural frequencies that are propagating?
Yes. Yes, those kind of anomalies, let's call it, in terms of are contributing to generate the so-called noise. Any measurement is affected by noise, so that's important to say this. I tell you that we have a huge plateau of measurements because we are studying the Giza plateau now. There are some years that we are working on this project. A lot of times we spend time, and so computational time, to process a topogram, let's say, and then because it's too much affected by noise, we throw it away. It is has a sense, your question, because in our personal opinion, though wind, I don't know, heavy wind can absolutely affect the quality of the result. Absolutely, yes.
Nick.
Okay, how long would this take you to do every pyramid in the world? Like, how expensive, how time consuming is it for you to just scan all of the known pyramids?
Yes.
Or important sites, like Saxon or
Just put the microphone down.
whatever.
A lot of people contacted us in order to perform work on a lot of sites scattered around the world. The answer is yes. In order to perform everything in the world is only a computational effort. So, absolutely yes. I am feeling to tell you if they perform as donations, we can buy a computer. Buying the computer, we gain the power to study other archaeological sites. it's a computational effort.
Yeah. What were the server costs for this project?
Good question.
Yes, according to a donation that I have received 2 years ago, a physical donation, a computer, a powerful computer. I don't remember the specification, but it was around 44 cores. We managed to use that computer, so we arrived here with that computer. So in 2 years. And that's an example only to explain that 2 years we scanned the Giza plateau. We are still working on the Giza plateau using that computer. If we have a cascade of other computers, we can or scan other sites or compressing the time in order to arrive to a final result in Giza. Yes, in the future we are working also in translate the kernel that we are currently using on CPU to move it on GPU. Absolutely yes. We probably will use CUDA, which is an NVIDIA proprietary language of programming in order to try and send the computational packets into the GPU. Maybe we will gain other time using this.
Any other questions?
Hello, my name is David Stig Hansen. Call me Stig. I lived in Taiwan in 2001, and I worked in a fiber optic manufacturing factory. And they would draw fiber from preformed glass. They needed a platform to be stable. If there's an earthquake, the fiber would be destroyed. I was lucky enough to stand on that platform when there was an earthquake, and the whole world did this around me. But what do you think about that theory for the stabilization of the machine, the pyramid? Thank you. What do you think about the idea that those coils could be springs supporting and equalizing?
Almost like springs in the values of their size.
Cosa pensi che su queste cose che avete trovato sul erano qualche tipo di
At the moment, in my personal opinion, mine, I can't say anything about the purpose of these pillars that we found. At the moment, we are analyzing the results. We, as I show you today, we found regular patterns on these pillars that are going underneath. So, in my personal opinion, all the Giza plateau is connected. So we can't watch the pyramids like something separated to another pyramid, no? Or the facilities separated, no. In my personal opinion, we have to consider all the Giza plateau like connected. And always according to my personal opinion, can be more than one purpose concerning the Giza plateau. So, but I can't say anything else because I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take two.
Sorry, I just only want to add, in my personal opinion, an important element that is connected to the correlation between the Khafre pyramid and the number 137, that is the basic number for physics. And it is is connected with quantum physics, but many physicists like Max Lederman, for example, Nobel Prize for Physics, or Pauli and more others, studied the number in the effort to find the real meaning of the 137. If this number is correlated with the Khafre pyramid, it means something. It means that something is a code suggesting a possible function of the entire Giza plateau. For these reasons, I believe that after the scan of when the mapping of the Giza plateau is finished, the second step is to try to explore the Giza plateau, but at the same time to try to understand what is why the connection between the pyramids and the mysterious numbers. So it's possible. That is why I'm a little bit sure that there is a connection between the pyramid and the image.
Go ahead, Trey.
I was excited to hear that you just said you are now talking to Dr. Zebker, Professor Zebker at Stanford. I know I've been very interested in looking into who could reproduce the findings of your team from an objective standpoint, so that people could no longer question if it's, you guys just making this up or inventing it. I think seeing a secondary team actually do the process and process the information in the way that you have would give it would really have to end the debate as to whether or not it was made up in some way. I mean, they would have to say you made it completely up if they're saying it's not real. So I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about what exactly he was going to do, because I know that he is one of the very respected SAR experts that would be capable of actually really validating this in a big way, and I know a lot of people were interested in seeing, a secondary team do this. So I wonder if you can talk a little bit more about what exactly he's going to be doing. Is he going to be using the protocol, the Biondi protocol, we call it, that you came up with, or what exactly part of the process is he going to be reproducing, or how's he going to be involved?
Yes, thank you for this question. It is obvious that the work is beginning from zero. So I think the first thing that this second research group will be is to perform a preliminary study that has to be theoretical. Okay. Then, after you perform the theoretical preliminary study, you have to move into some experiments. I suggest this second research group to begin to start my street. So you have to start in examining facilities where you are sure to have some results. So I suggest to explore first of all infrastructures like bridges. Bridges are very they vibrate a lot, let's say like that. So it is possible to retrieve the information very quickly, and then move into other things that is more difficult to extrapolate vibrations. And in the last, to scan again the Giza plateau, so in order to reproduce the experiments. But in the last phase.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around what the bottleneck is for continuing this. You mentioned it was compute costs and maybe data storage, and companies like Amazon and Google have spent the last 30 years making that more and more affordable, and I'm just wondering, to spin up an NVIDIA CUDA cloud, and do data storage and compute on it. It doesn't sound that expensive, and so, but I don't know your data size, and I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on that, and will you release, if you do a calculation on the estimated costs for data storage and compute, I think that would be great to see, because that would help fundraise to get those compute costs paid for.
I tell you, our research group is composed by individuals. We do not have a university behind that give us powerful to speed up our research. So in my life I do another thing. I work on this project when I have in a philanthropic way, let's say, when I have free time, I work on this project. So we are using efforts that are ours. And these are the principal motivation because the work is slowing down, because we are doing everything, let's say, without money. Maybe other research groups or another research group that is fully academic accredited, let's say, like the scam pyramid, which I absolutely give the maximum respect to this research group, but they have a lot of university behind them, so they have, I think, a lot of money to spend in order to meet the experiments. The principal motivation, the principal thing because we are our results, they are not so fast because we work without money.
If you tell us how much it costs, we could probably help with that to build it on the cloud for
We
you.
will exchange our contacts and we can do some philanthropic activities in order to.
That'd be a pretty good final answer right there.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
We good. Thank you very much, everyone. You're not breaking news tonight as well. You know, U.S. premiere of having discovered Atlantis, and we'll have the Q&A there. So I don't know if it'll be this formal, but just if you're curious and came to this, you may want to also ask Michael some questions as we prioritize.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna try to bring the big one.
I will mention one thing is that in our project, which is separate from this, we use a huge variety of technologies, everything available essentially. But the foundation of how we begin our discovery process isn't a million miles different from how these gentlemen are doing their work. So we start with satellite scans, locate something, then we go on location. So.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Doctor, do you believe acoustic resonance could serve not just as a measurement tool, but as a key, a form of intelligent activations of ancient architecture? Do you believe acoustic resonance could serve not just as a measurement tool, but as a key, a form of intelligent activations of ancient architecture?
Will be time to decide this. Time will decide this. We will see. It will be the key of what you said.
What role do you think a human presence, especially breath, intention, plays in detection of awakening these hidden chambers?
These aren't clear questions.
Filippo, she's asking about, because we spoke about this on our interview, the idea that acoustics and sound affect human consciousness. And I think she's asking about the correlations between the acoustic sciences you're doing and how that might play a role in what the Egyptians or the dynastics, pre-dynastics were doing with acoustics and consciousness.
Yes.
So the effect of acoustics on the biological.
The biological. Yes. That's a question that we can stay, we can remain here 1 hour speaking about this. And I stopping. Yes, absolutely yes. If I just tell you, in my personal opinion, if these ancient megalithic structures maintains geometric dimensions that resonates, that are compliant with acoustic resonance, absolutely yes, because our brain, I ask you to read about an Italian former professor, which was Professor Emilio De Giudice. Emilio De Giudice made a lot of work about the interaction between sound, he was a physicist, professor, sound and human bodies. Absolutely yes. The answer is yes.
Also, they've shown the acoustic properties on plants. So it's something that's, that idea has been brought up before, that the pyramids possibly had multiple roles, and one of them might have been their effect on the surrounding fauna and flora. Interesting.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
This is Robert Shaw.